Hi everyone, it's time to find out what's in the August Smile Create Repeat box. So as usual, you will find the menu of what's in the box and a link to a video that shows you how to create this little guy and how to use the supplies in the box. Let's see. There's 2 inks, stamping pads. Oh my goodness. This marker was open, uncapped. I hope there's still some ink left inside. Let's check if it's still working. Yeah. I think it'll be okay. Don't know how long it's gonna last because looks like it's soaked a lot of ink, but we'll see. Anyway, so here we have a top liner, 0.4 millimeter. Oh yeah, so there's also a, looks like it's a carving nib by Speedball. It's a cutter. It says cutter. Let's see what else we have in here. The Tombow Mono pencil that we get every month, and this time it's the F. And oh, there's more ink here too. And a handle for the cutter by Speedball as well. Two pieces of paper for, I'm assuming it's going to be to print what you're going to carve in this block. It's a soft block, so it's probably going to be very easy to carve. So you're going to carve it with this and use the stamps to add color to your carving, and then put your paper, rub it, and have the print. We also have a sticker and a postcard of an artist who created something with the supplies from the Smart Create Repeat box. Luan Heights, oh my goodness, Heitzenrater, I'm not sure how to pronounce, sorry Luan. It was done in soft pastel and technical pen on toned paper. And more info on Smile Create Repeat. So just, that's about it. So stick around while, and then I'll create something on my, what is this one called? On my Speedball linoleum. Nope, it's not it. It's an ink, wait. It's a soft-kut printing block.
I did my sketch on a piece of tracing paper. I drew it right side up because I knew that I would have to flip the tracing paper upside down to trace it onto the printing block, and after I carve it I would have to flip it again, flip the printing block to put the impression on paper, so that eventually the drawing or the image would be again this side, the side that I'm drawing, if it makes any sense. Well, you'll see at the end. So I flipped the tracing paper upside down against the printing block, and I used the pencil to rub all the graphite onto the block. Because the block is very soft, I didn't press very hard, because if I had done that, then I would have gone right through the tracing paper and made holes. And I also decided to make a little border around my crow. So I must admit I cheated a little bit. A while ago, I bought a bunch of cutting nibs, just like the one that came in the box, except they're all different sizes and shapes, because I had the intention of trying to do some block printing. It was very appealing to me, but I hadn't tried yet. So because this is my first one, I didn't want to mess it up, and I decided to use the different cutting nibs that I have, so that I could use the big ones to do the bigger areas and go a bit faster, but also use the smaller ones for the small details. I used the cutter nib that came in the box to do the frame, to cut on both sides of the frame, because it's very small and it's great for very small lines. But for most of the outside of the crow, I used a bigger nib, and it's a U-shaped one. It allowed me to carve bigger chunks at once, and so I was able to go faster that way. The printing block is very soft, so it's very easy to carve it. The sharper the tools you use, the easier it gets. Just be careful not to cut your fingers. I found that the cutter nib that was in the box was sharper than the nibs that I already had, so it was much easier to use. But overall, it didn't really matter, because the block is very soft, so you don't need to put any effort. It's very easy to handle. So once I was done with the outside of the crow, I went back to the V-shaped cutter that was in the box, and I basically used only that. It allowed me to carve very small lines, and that was great because that's exactly what I needed for the crow's feathers and all the other fine lines. Once I was done carving, I used an electric pencil sharpener to erase the graphite that was still on the block, because I was afraid that it would mix with the ink and make a big mess. So the electric pencil sharpener did a great job. At that point, I hadn't realized that the memory card for my camera was full, and so it was not filming anymore, and I missed the first printing test on a piece of scrap paper. For this first test, I had rubbed the blue ink pad on the printing block and just flipped it and put it on the piece of scrap paper, and kind of pushed it a bit, applied a bit of pressure on the back, and I get that print. The test allowed me to get a first impression of how well I had carved the crow, and I was able after that to add more details if I needed it, and maybe carve more chunks that were on the outside of the crow that were sticking out still. So that's what I did. Actually, adding some lines on the inked printing block was pretty nice, because with the darker color on it, it allowed me to visualize better where I should add more lines. So I slowed down the video right at this part so that you could see better how I'll add the fine lines. Again, the V-shaped cutter is really nice and much more precise than the other nibs that I have. After the extra carving, I was ready for the second test print. So I rubbed the blue ink pad again on the block, and I flipped it over and I printed it. The result wasn't that great. I didn't put enough ink on the block this time. With that in mind, I decided to add more ink this time and use the paper that was in the box. Also, I hadn't used the green ink yet, so I decided to use both. But again, I didn't put enough ink, so the result wasn't great. On my third try, instead of rubbing the ink pad on the block, I dabbed it, and so I could see the ink was wetter, and it worked much better this way. And in order to use all the supplies in the box, I used the Schneider top liner to add my initials.